Chapter 18, Part 4. Now we're talking about the powers of a corporation, having finished the formation of a corporation. So corporations have express powers. Those are the ones that are found in the Articles of Incorporation and the laws of the state of incorporation and certain federal statute. Corporate bylaws may also grant certain express powers to the corporation and its board and officers. Implied powers are those that are reasonably necessary to accomplish the corporation's purposes. A corporate officer is an agent of the corporation and combine the corporation in contract matters connected with the ordinary course of the affairs of the enterprise. The term ultra-vires. Ultra-vires means going beyond the powers that the corporation has. Those either express or implied powers. Articles of Incorporation commonly today adopt very broad purposes to prevent lawsuits against corporations where people sue the corporation saying that the corporation exceeded its authority, opening it up to liability. So that does not occur as much today as it did at one time. Where there is ultra-vires activity by the corporation, shareholders can sue to get an injunction from a court to stop the corporation from those activities that are ultra-vires. The shareholders or the corporation itself can also seek damages from the officers and directors who are responsible for those acts. So corporations have not traditionally been considered to be citizens. For example, under the Fifth Amendment, it doesn't apply to corporations because corporations are not citizens. So a corporation cannot assert the Fifth Amendment. Corporate records can be seized even if they incriminate the corporation itself or persons who work for the corporation. Corporations are subject to having their corporate veil pierced, and then the shareholders could be held personally liable if it's in the interest of justice and fairness. The situations where the corporate veil can be pierced are when the corporation is formed or operated in order to commit a fraud or other illegal activity or to defend a crime. With a small corporation, you can pierce the corporate veil to prevent an inequity, injustice, or fraud, especially when the formalities are not followed. In those situations, we often refer to those corporations as an alter ego of the actual sole shareholder who is acting through a corporation but only in a fraudulent way. Some of the things that are conduct that can lead to piercing the corporate veil include commingling of assets between the shareholders and the corporation, lack of formalities, and inadequate capitalization. Other things include where a third party is tricked into dealing with the corporation rather than an individual. The corporation is set up never to really make a profit, is insolvent or undercapitalized, as stated before. Formed to evade an existing legal obligation. Statutory formalities aren't formed, and commingling, we already talked about that. So with close corporations, where you have a small group of shareholders, you have some special problems that may exist. You have to preserve the separate status of the shareholders in the corporation, no commingling of funds, You must have directors' meetings, or it can lead to piercing the corporate veil. And inappropriate shareholder use of corporate property could lead to piercing the corporate veil. We already talked about the alter ego theory. This is where the identity of the corporation and a major shareholder or the shareholder are so entwined that there's no separate identity. One is the alter ego of the other, and that can result in piercing the corporate veil. And that will conclude part 5 of chapter 18. 2 more parts to go, part 6 and part 7.